What's good, Combat Sports fans? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. You already know what this is. This is the UFC 313 breakdown. Let's waste no time. Let's get into it. Let's go. So like I said, welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. And this is the official breakdown for UFC 313. You guys know how I usually do this. I either just focus on the main card or I give you a little something all the way through. Tonight, I'm going to give you my predictions for the prelims, and then I'm going to break down the main card. So, opening the prelims, Alex Morono versus Carlos Leal. I'm going with Alex Morono. Every time that I have bet against Alex Morono, it has backfired on me. And I'm not saying to bet on him. I'm just saying for me, anytime I've went against him, it's backfired on me. So, I'm rocking with Alex Morono. Next fight, you got Bruno Ferreira versus Armen Petrosyan. That's going to be a scrapper. That's going to be a scrapper. Them boys are going to throw. Armen Petrosyan's coming off of a KO loss. Unless he fought again in between the Sharabola. But I think that was the only fight. He got KO'd in that fight. Bruno Ferreira hits hard as shit. I'm rocking with Bruno Ferreira. Then you got Joshua Van versus Ray Saruya. I think that's how you say his name. It's undefeated prospect, 22 years old, making his debut against Joshua Van. Not an easy fight to make your debut on. Joshua Van's definitely got some good hands. He's got good pressure. He's a tough fight. I would lean with Joshua Van, but that's honestly because I don't know much about this other guy. I mean, it's a prospect on a come up, 10-0. Like I said, 22 years old, making his debut. We'll see what happens. Let's see if he could shock the world on Saturday night and not even shock the world, but just make a name for himself on Saturday night. Put a little statement in there, get something going for his career. But I would say I'm rocking with Joshua Van. Another debut. Basically the end of the prelims, you got Curtis Blades going up against. I gotta look so I know exactly how to say this dude's name. Rizvan Kuniev. 12-2. Looks like he's a top-ranked heavyweight in the world, so could bring some interesting heat to this fight. But he's making his debut. Another one I'm not super sure about. I know from reading that he's a wrestler. Not like a full-on wrestler, but he's got wrestling. He's got some decent wrestling. But sounds like he's got some pop in his hands too. So we'll see what happens on Saturday night. But that's a tough one to choose. You know, at the heavyweight division, the guy making his debut really doesn't matter. If he can crack, he can crack. And if he catches you, you're going out. So it's one of those things where it's hard to predict. I'd go with Curtis Blades. I would just say the experience alone should be able to carry him through this fight. But we'll see if this Rizvan is a savage. Let's see what he's got. All right. So now we're getting into predictions and breakdowns. This is the main card of UFC 313. Opening the main card, we got King Green going up against Mauricio Rufy. Back at it again. The Fighting Nerds. Mauricio Rufy is a dog. His striking is very unique, very clean, very slick, right? He's got good counter punching. He throws like unorthodox punches that are like extremely accurate in a crazy way. But he's been making a name for himself just like the rest of them. Like that whole crew of Fighting Nerds are all making a name for themselves. And I can see him continuing this streak that he's on Saturday night. Now, Bobby Green, King Green is no slouch for anybody. That is a tough fight for anybody. It doesn't matter how long he's been in the game. It actually does matter, but in a different way, right? It matters because he has that veteran status. He's been here many times. He's been in very tough fights many times. He's been on the bad side of a KO, and he's been on the great side of a KO. So he's used to this. He's used to this. But age is not a problem. I think he's just much more experienced. Now, if he gets cracked on the jaw, we've seen Bobby getting, the chin's kind of fading in the last few fights. And understandably so. The man has been in a lot of good scraps, right? A lot of back and forth fights. I can see this being a 3-round fight, nobody getting finished, but Mauricio Rufy beating him by decision, just outlanding him, making it extremely close though. Like it's going to be close. Like Bobby's going to have some moments. I can see Mauricio Rufy taking like the first and second round, and then Bobby having such a good third round that like it made people feel like Bobby's going to get it. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I see this fight going to decision. Mauricio Rufy getting his hand raised. Because if there's a finish, I would assume that it would be on Bobby Green's end. I would assume Bobby Green would get the finish, but who knows? Mauricio Rufy hits you with such shots at different angles and stuff like that, and like I said, he's so accurate, so you never know. He could very well catch Bobby Green with something nasty and end up finishing him. But I see this going to a decision, and I'm leaning with Mauricio Rufy. So now we got Amanda Lemos versus Yasmin Lucindo. I don't know why I was about to say Lucindo Perez for some reason. I don't even know who that is. I don't even know if that's a real person, but that's what came to my mind for some reason. But Yasmin Lucindo, she is actually a dog. This chick is a young, I don't even want to call her an uppercomer because she's been in the UFC since 2022. She got one loss back in 2022. I think she lost her debut to Yasmin Yaraguay. And she ends up going on getting a lot of good wins. She's beat Poliana Viana. She has beaten who else has she beaten actually? Marina Rodriguez and Karolina Kovacevic. So she has been in there with some tough opposition, and she has gotten it done. Now a lot of decisions. She subbed Poliana, but she's gotten a lot of decisions. But she can scrap, man. She brings a tough fight, and I think styles make fights, and this is going to be a really it's going to be like a car crash type. It's going to be a collision type of fight. They are going to be back and forth. It's going to be a high-paced matchup. I can see Amanda Lemos finding a way to get the win. I mean, she is a savage. She does end up getting finishes you don't expect her to get, or she ends up pulling something out when she's down. She's not the most technically perfectly sound, but she is strong. She's durable, and she's not afraid to get in a scrap. You prove that when she fought Weili Zhang. She went in there against Weili. She fought her ass off. She got her ass beat, but she fought her ass off. Right? She's not afraid to get in a scrap. But I feel like I gotta rock with the momentum. The young up-and-comer, it seems like the young up-and-comer has been on the takeover more often than not, right? So I'm in the first fight, I'm going with the young up-and-comer. In this one, I'm going with the young up-and-comer. I gotta rock with Yasmin Lucindo because I just feel like that tide. It just seems like that's what's happening so much recently. Like that tide is turning. You got guys that you never expected to lose their position in the divisions are doing it. Same with the women. Like it's a different time. It's like the passing of the guard time. And it's not that Amanda Lemos was holding the guard or anything like that. But she's not young. She's 36 years old. So I think she's 36, 37. Let's see. 37. She's 37 years old. And she's been in some very competitive, tough fights. So I just got to rock with the young gun in this one. I would say if you're going to bet on a decision, I would go with Yasmin Lucindo. But if you're betting on a finish, it's going to end up being in Amanda Lemos' favor. It doesn't seem like Lucindo gets many finishes. Like I said, she's got a lot of decisions on her record. So I could see the finish side being in favor of Amanda Lemos. But we'll see what happens. I'm rocking with Yasmin Lucindo, though. Now, this next fight is going to be a back and forth, very competitive fight. And obviously, the co-main event, we're all expecting to be a slugfest, a little bit of a war. Even on short notice, we're expecting this to be a 5-round war. Guys going back and forth, fight of the year potential type of thing. But do not sleep on the fight before it, because Jalen Turner is going up against Ignacio Bahamondes. And let me tell you something. If Jalen Turner, right, just wasn't always trying to get this highlight KO, this man would have a lot more finishes. He's a very good overall technical fighter, right? He has good takedown defense. He's long and lanky, so he's hard it's hard for you to close the distance. He's good at utilizing that range. He's got really good striking, right? So it's interesting, on some of the fights that he's lost were mainly on his mistakes. Not just like him getting caught. It's like mainly on his mistakes is when he was taking his L's. And you know, he cannot make mistakes like that in this fight. He just can't. Ignacio Bahamondes, even though he doesn't look like somebody that has thunder in his hands, once he gets going and he's breaking you down through the rounds, it shows. It shows. The dude could crack, because he's accurate too. He'll catch you on the tail end of his punches. If you see that fight of him in the Sphere, tail end of the punch. It was a beautiful, beautiful knockout. And it's one of those things where you know these guys are going to meet in the middle. They're going to both drag the dog out of each other. It's not going to be a technical fight. It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be back and forth. I don't even want to say a slugfest. It's just going to be a striking matchup, back and forth striking matchup. You're going to see a lot of it. I can see them having some clinch work, couple moments up against the cage, but I don't see any wrestling happening in this fight unless somebody gets knocked down and it gets forced to go that route. But I don't see it. I see this being a fight, two guys meeting in the middle, striking well. Jalen Turner just has to be smart. Stick behind the jab, use the 1-2, utilize the legs to keep the distance. If you rock him, if you rock Ignacio Bahamondes, you better go for the finish. Just go for the finish. Don't try to do no extra shit, because I promise you, if you drop him with a 1-2 and just walk away like you knocked him out, you didn't. You got to finish him, and you have to knock him out cold if you want to get that W against a guy like Ignacio Bahamondes, who is going to meet right in the middle, ready to scrap with no problem. Like that's his game. He is totally game to scrap, but he's also got good sound striking. So this fight is going to be very fun to watch. Very, very fun to watch. Who do I pick, though? That is a tough one. That's a tough question. I guess when you're picking, you got to go to the classic, you're only as good as your last fight. Ignacio Bahamondes is on a 2-fight winning streak, or a longer winning streak, but 2 fights back-to-back KOs. Jalen Turner's coming off of a KO loss to Renato Moicano that realistically he could have won that fight. He could have won that fight if he would have just went for the finish in that first round, but he didn't, and it costed him, right? He needs not to make any mistake in this fight on Saturday, but I'm probably rocking with Ignacio Bahamondes. It just seems like he's got a lot of momentum. He hits hard. If he's able to close the distance somewhat, I mean, they're not that different in length, in size, but Jalen Turner is a oddly long individual for that division, for a 155 pounder. You know, the man's 6'2", 155. This you don't see it a lot, right? It's not many guys in that division that are 6'2". But if Bahamondes can find ways to close the distance ever so slightly, find ways to land his right hand, he might be able to get a finish. So I'm rocking with Ignacio Bahamondes. All right, on to the co-main event. Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev 2. The first fight was beautiful. Beautiful violence. That's exactly what it was. Because it wasn't just a slugfest. It was a technical striking battle between a guy who's known to have a lot of power in his hands, good leg kicks, good boxing, against a guy who is known to have fantastic Muay Thai and kickboxing. He gets his kicks up quick. He throws great body kicks, great leg kicks. He throws fantastic combinations. The fight was when the fight first got set, it was guaranteed to be fireworks. This one, I feel the same way. Obviously, it was supposed to be Justin Gaethje and Dan Hooker, but unfortunately, Dan Hooker had to pull out due to the hand injury. If you have anybody that's going to step in on short notice, nobody better. I mean, literally nobody better than Rafael Fiziev in this position. Literally think about the whole division right now. Who would you call to take that fight? Call Dustin. Dustin's not going to take that fight. Islam's not going to take that fight. Arman's not going to take that fight. I don't think Beneil would take that fight on short notice. Maybe, but I don't think so. It's not a fight that anybody really wants to take on short notice. But Fiziev having the loss on his record to Justin Gaethje, he wants to get that back. And not only that, just a shit way. I mean, he had the loss to Justin Gaethje and then ended up having the leg injury or knee injury, whatever he ended up having. So he's been sidelined for a little while. He's ready to get back out there. He's been waiting for the UFC to make him a fight, get something going for him. And they finally did in a shitty way. Obviously not what he would want, but he wants the rematch. So he don't care if he gets it on 1 day's notice, 5 days notice, 10 days notice, or with a full camp. I don't think he cares. I think he just wants this fight back. And truthfully, the style change between Fiziev and Dan Hooker, I think, is going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for Justin Gaethje. And it's going to be a problem mainly because, I mean, think about it. When do you ever really see Dan Hooker throw high head kicks or extreme levels of combinations, ending in body kicks, ending in leg kicks, ending in head kicks? You don't ever really see that. Right? That's not in Dan Hooker's arsenal. But what is in Dan Hooker's arsenal is boxing, the hands, the elbows, everything chest up. He knows how to work it, right? He knows how to get it done from the hands. He knows how to get it done with the elbows. He has good knees too, but he doesn't kick very often, right? Fiziev almost ends every combination with some sort of kick. So that is just pure danger. Pure danger. Justin Gaethje has to be careful. I truly do believe that Rafael Fiziev is going to knock out Justin Gaethje on Saturday with a head kick. That is my bold prediction. It's the boldest prediction of the night, but my prediction is Rafael Fiziev knocks out Justin Gaethje with a head kick. Not predicting a round. Just that's the prediction. And I say this because of the way that he throws the combinations. Like I said, it's a very tough matchup to take when you were training for a guy like Dan Hooker, who is nowhere near the same level of a counter punch or combo puncher as Fiziev is. Just a combo striker in general, right? He just throws so much. He throws good volume. And Justin Gaethje's knockout, that KO was rough. Getting KO'd by Max Holloway, that was rough. That was it. And it's not that getting knocked out was bad. It's just the man is taking so much damage. He's taking so much damage already. And then he goes out there to get flatline KO'd like that. And they were showing the video. I don't know why this video just now went viral, but the video of him on the ground, and he kind of is like, shaking a little bit on the ground after the knockout, and they turn him over. He literally looked like he was just like done. I mean, it shows you how dangerous this game is for these guys, and it makes you respect it so much more because these guys are going in there really putting their lives on the line. Somebody gets KO'd like that, you never know. Somebody can fall the wrong way. They can hit their head the second time. Like, we've seen stuff happen in boxing, right, where guys didn't end up making it home that night or didn't end up making it back to their career. So you got to give all of these guys props, all of the combat sports fighters in general, men, women, doesn't matter. If you are in a combat sport, you got to give them props because some tough shit to do. Some very tough shit to do. And for a guy like Justin Gaethje, who's been in war after war after war after war, just getting flatline KO'd in his last fight, coming back to fight what was going to be a war fight again, a fight that was going to be a 5-round back and forth slugfest, right? I did see Justin Gaethje originally winning the Dan Hooker fight. I saw him outlanding with more power shots, and I figured he was going to end up getting it done. But this one is different. This fight is different. And if he is not 100% fully recovered, it's going to be tough. It's gonna be tough. How many months ago was that? Let's see. All right, so it really wasn't. It's not that quick of a turnaround. It was 11 months ago, so we're almost at a full year since the KO. But it was still a rough KO. Still a rough KO. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Justin Gaethje is typical Justin Gaethje, or if he's starting to fade. Like I said, the man's been in a lot of wars. He's taken a lot of damage. So after a KO like that, it's always tough to bounce back. So my prediction is Fiziev head kick KO. On to the main event. Obviously not going to be a crazy in-depth breakdown on that because I did solo in-depth breakdowns. You kind of know where I'm going. You know, I feel like if whoever takes control early, I feel like is going to have a lot of success. If Alex can get to his legs early, start breaking him down like that, the same way, similar way that Jan Blachowicz did to him, then I think he's going to end up finding a home for something nasty, and he's going to end up getting a finish Alex Pereira style. But if Magomed can get straight to it, you know, waste no time, get right at it. He said he wants to get a first round KO, so I'm assuming that he's going to try to meet in the middle, put the pressure on right away. Like right off rip, he's going to be in his face, slugging it out. So if he goes in there with that game plan and it is successful, he has to utilize pressure. He has to put Alex on his back foot, or make Alex chase. Make Alex chase, because the way that Magomed Ankalaev counters, he's very good on the counter when you're coming in, right? He doesn't have a counter on when you're backing up, but anytime you come in towards him, he has great counters, and he has a sneaky left hook, very sneaky left hook. So Alex definitely has to be careful. And not only does he have a sneaky left hook, this is another guy, right, who likes to end combinations with a kick. Not only does he like to end combinations with a kick, he'll just chuck a kick up there to begin with anyways, right? He has good high head kicks. And now Alex has very good blocks for those, right? He's been in those positions. If you watch people throw the head kick towards him, he's right there almost every single time. Like, it's not something easy to land on him. You have to be on his level of kickboxing. I mean, these guys have years of experience kickboxing, but so does Ankalaev. So this is going to be an interesting fight. A lot of people think it's going to be a wrestling match. I can see times where the fight may change, it might change levels. Who knows who's gonna do it? It might not even be Magomed Ankalaev. You know, Alex might fuck around and change levels. So we'll see what happens. My prediction, I'm leaning Poatan. You know, I'm rocking with Alex Pereira, Shama. But at the same time, I am not thinking that it's going to be a crazy shocker if Magomed Ankalaev goes in there and gets it done. Honestly, there's always that feeling, you know, like I said in the Alex Pereira breakdown, I want to see Alex continue to win because of that aura. This is once in a lifetime type of aura that if he continues to get these knockout wins, it's like, oh my God, this is insane. This is insane. And you're going to grow so far to find somebody else in the future that is so special to take him out. You know what I'm saying? It's the passing of the guard. It's the passing of the torch. All that kind of stuff, right? It just seems like a perfect type of story, right? And the aura is there, and I want him to continue with that. And I don't think there's much in terms of booking or excitement that you're going to get out of Magomed Ankalaev. You're going to get a guy who gets the belt, and he's going to be happy that he got the belt. I mean, yeah, he's going to defend it, but you're talking about a light heavyweight division that's pretty much was boring when John Jones in DC, started to flee out. You were hoping somebody, Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes, Jan Blachowicz, somebody brings something. Yuri came in, you're like, all right, Yuri's kind of exciting. All of a sudden, Yuri gets a couple knockouts, and then all of a sudden Glover Teixeira wins the belt off Jan Blachowicz, and you're like, okay, I'm kind of paying attention to the light heavyweight division. And now to where we're at in that light heavyweight division, you're locked in. You're locked in, and that is because of Alex Pereira. So if he can continue on with the aura and just continue getting wins, doesn't even have to be a knockout win. It could just be a win in general. Just to see him continue it would be fantastic. He's a top-tier fighter, but so is Magomed Ankalaev. I think we're going to see a very technical fight. You know, I don't see this being a slugfest or anything like that. I can see this being an extremely technical fight. And is it going to go 5? It all depends on what happens in the first 2 rounds, in my opinion. If Magomed Ankalaev is putting a lot of pressure on him, but is failing to achieve what he's trying to, you know, then it's going to be a long night for him. Not that he doesn't have the cardio, but in past fights, that's what I have seen, that he fades a little bit after the 3rd round, late in the 3rd, going in the 4th. He's fading if the fight is actually a competitive fight. And more than likely, Saturday night's fight is going to be a competitive fight. It's going to be action-packed. The whole card is stacked. It's going to be a very good card, and I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to come back and do a review on it. It hasn't even started yet, and I already want to do the review. You know what I mean? Like, I am so excited just to see this card and see what happens. You know, this is a major light heavyweight championship fight, like a major, just because this is somebody that a lot of people feel that deserved a title shot a while ago, right? And ended up getting that crappy opportunity against Jan Blachowicz, and nobody ended up winning that belt. You know, like, just a weird moment. And he's been calling out Alex Pereira, saying that Alex is running from him. And Alex don't run from nobody. Alex is always signing on the dotted line, so it's going to happen. You got a fight of the year contender in the co-main event. You got another fight of the year contender right under that. So it's going to be an explosive night. So make sure you tune in to UFC 313, and you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando's out. Peace.